Hello friends, we are going to look at the island of Trinidad, which is part of the country Trinidad and Tobago, and we are going to look at the eastern side, one of the major places to visit, Sangre Grande, or as my wife would say, Sangre Grande, or something like that. This place is quite populated and it covers a large area, but we are only going to cover the Sangre Grande Proper, and that is the place where most people are. The shops, the police station, the main arteries to other places in Sangre Grande. And this is all going to be recorded in 5.3K. YouTube, I believe, reduces that to 4K, but nevertheless you will see that the resolution is quite high and a lot of clarity. I am using an extension rod and my camera is mounted to the rod so I can give you different angles. And as we are going, make sure to subscribe if you have not. If it's your first time on JB's Man Cave, I have a lot of videos like this. In recording this, I have going on to 1600 videos. That's right. So there's plenty for you to see. We are on a Co-Operative Street. We're passing Alfonso Street right now, and we're going towards the eastern main road, and we're going to make a right, and then you will see all that there is in Sangre Grande Proper. And of course, I'd like to say right off the bat that if these things mean anything to you and you appreciate the work involved for me to go around like this, record, publish, edit, and produce it so you can watch it, feel free to make a donation at jboard.com or jbmancave.com. There's a donate button there. You can donate whatever you like. That's only if you can afford it. If you can't, no problem. Just like the video, let your friends know, and make sure you're a subscriber. Subscribing is free. Just click the subscribe button. So as you know, in JB's Man Cave, I cover the raw. So I'm going to show you all aspects of Sangre Grande. And I'm seeing it in the colloquial way, the local way, Sandy Grande, not Sangre Grande. My wife has a video for how to pronounce Spanish names in Trinidad. If you haven't seen it, make sure to look for it, because it's myself and my wife speaking about together in one video. It's kind of funny. So this is the eastern main road. We are heading, which would be south, towards the town center. Passing a bank on the right. The Sangre Grande Regional Corporation is right across the street there. We'll come back there and check out there and what's behind it, which is a school. But at this angle, because it's high above everything, you can see what everything looks like now. Now you see that house right across the road there? I just love that. Not this one, I'm gonna pan back to it just now. That one. And you might be thinking, but that's not much, but that is a wooden structure that comes from way back when, and it's well kept. And it's like a cottage that reminds me of a lot of what I've seen in European places. Usually they do the same thing but out of stone, and they usually have flowers in the front. I used to see a lot of that in England and Wales, especially Wales. Anyway, we're moving along. This is Trinidad, in the tropics, in the Caribbean. It's a cloudy day, sunny day, fairly clear. Some Saharan dust in the distance. Crossing the street here. And the one thing that beats driving around, walking around, is that when walking around I could pan left and right. And driving around I can cover more, so you see more. But with walking around, you get a better view as though you were there. So, driving around, walking around has its advantage, disadvantage. But guess what? I also did a drive around video of Sangre Grande. That's right. So in addition to this video, look out for the one where I drive around and I cover a lot more area and go in places where you probably have not seen in Sangre Grande. Now, as I was saying before, JB's Man Cave, I cover all the raw of things, so I'll be picking up the good, the bad, the ugly. So far, what can I say about the streets? They look relatively clean, as you see a bottle here or there, but seems to be okay, fair. I give it a passing grade. The sidewalk pavement could do some work, but it's not as bad as a lot of other areas. And it's poor to say that a bad area is a comparison for another area. Really, it should be a standard. One thing that always gets to me about roads and pavements in Trinidad is the lack of maintenance. So sometimes they'll put on something but not maintain it. This is a very large radio cellular tower in Sangre Grande. It almost acts as a landmark and is something fairly new if you haven't been in Sangre Grande for many years. I'm not sure when this went up exactly, but when I first appeared back in Sangre Grande some years ago, that was the first thing that stood out to me. Some of these old houses and buildings may have had a past and I don't know the history of it, but if you do, feel free to comment on it, but make sure to put a timeline. Don't just tell us the building name just like that in the comment, because we are not going to know what you're talking about. Make sure to always put a timeline. So if you're referencing that building, you would use the time code that you're seeing now. So as you see, I tower over everybody. Makes everybody feel a little bit more comfortable too when the camera is not directly on them. And my job here is really not to record anybody in particular unless they want to be on camera. My job is recording Sangre Grande itself, and people are just secondarily in the shot. Now it's busy Sangre Grande. This part of it. This is a full stripper. When I say a full strip, this road, Eastern Main Road, stretches going north for quite some time. And all along it is shops left and right. But this is the busiest section. You would see that in the drive. In fact, I've done many videos passing through Sangre Grande, but never any that was detailed like this. Over on this side you have things like the market and stuff. We will come back to that. My biggest interaction with Sangre Grande used to be when I was part of a church or religious group. They had a branch here and I would visit it often. I like the layout of those vegetables in that van. And that was my biggest interaction. Other than that, I really can't say I have done much in Sangre Grande other than, well, coming to record this and passing through to get to other places. That might be how it is for a lot of people if you're not from this side. The people of Sangre Grande are very similar to the people of South Very friendly, very welcoming, curious, but not hoggish, I would say, as the people from the northwest. Everybody has their goods out today. Just past Andre Street. So how is Sangre Grande looking for you? If you haven't been here for a while, is it looking different, similar? You can't recognize it. It all depends on how long ago you have been here, because depending on how much time you've been abroad, or sometimes you're even in Trinidad and you haven't visited a place for a long time, it may not look familiar to you.
And everything, insurance.
Now I'm leaving natural songs slightly in the background. Sometimes I will have interaction with people. In fact, that was more or less brought on to me by certain individuals, which I will record for you. I shouldn't say record for you, I recorded it for you already. I will play for you louder. Anyway, that's the police station up ahead. Like I've said in other videos, there's a standard light blue, dark blue trim that is used for police stations locally. Make them stand out. And this particular police station is pretty big. 3-story building. This centerpiece, these metal figures, is to represent stick fighting, which is something done locally, like a sport. And I'm going to stand up here and pan around, because what's very unique about Sangre Grande is all the arteries that lead out of here to different parts of the country. So if you took any of these roads, you would end up in a way different place. They all connect right to here. And by me spinning around like this, it gives you an idea of what everything looks like. Now what I'm going to do is walk around each of these streets that I pointed to. But I'm not going to go too far because I am walking. And I'm not going to deviate too much from these main roads. Again, because I'm walking. In a drive, I will more or less go through these streets and try to cover more area for you and visit some of these side streets. So if that's your interest, you can also look out for that. But again, like I said, with walking, you get a different perspective. Able to see more of left and right. With this newer camera I'm using, it has a stabilizer. So things are not as shaky as it used to be in my earlier videos. When I did the one on San Fernando, I was actually using an external stabilizer for the same camera I use in my truck, because it didn't have a built-in stabilizer. And I still saw shakes in that, but with this one, the built-in stabilizer is really good, as you can see. Now, one thing that is noticeable right off the bat with Sangre Grande is that there are a lot of incomplete uh, places like buildings that need to be renovated or any process of renovating, or abandoned lots or abandoned buildings. You see a lot of that. I mean, that's all over Trinidad, but it seems to be more common here in Sangre Grande. I don't know what happened. For instance, look at that. That looks like it used to be a gas station on the left there. It's abandoned. I mean, it's cleared out and whatnot, but it's a total eyesore. Not sure what they're doing with that. A lot of these buildings, left to right, sometimes some of them look like that as well. I don't know if a lot of that was a result of the pandemic or just simply lack of maintenance. And although, like I said, the streets seem pretty clean, the sidewalks and stuff need to be upgraded. Lots of bush and grass around. Um, those are just my observations. Feel free to chime in the comments area. In fact, I meet somebody later in this video who is local to Sangre Grande and expresses the same things I did. So I guess my observations weren't too far from the truth. Sometimes these churches have a historical value. They're usually around for a long time. Church of Scotland. So hardware on the right. As I've expressed in some of my videos, sometimes people make their properties dual purpose. So it might have shops in the bottom and they live on top. One thing with these areas, there's always a lot of land available. If not on the outskirts, there are a lot of open lots that could be built up. But I don't know how much investment is poured into Sangre Grande simply because accessing it is difficult. The highway doesn't go directly to Sangre Grande. If it did, I think there would be more activity here. But it kind of ends in Valencia, and then you have to take a lot of long roads in order to get to Sangre Grande. I'm just gonna go off here a bit to just check the school out. Maybe you attended the school and would like to see it. But I don't want to get too far from the center of Sangre Grande. So I'm just gonna record that and come back. So maybe if you were resident to Sangre Grande, you attended this Sangre Grande government primary school in the early years of your life. Does it look the same? Does it look different? Tell me in the comments area. What about the houses and stuff around it? Does that look the same? Does it look different? feel free to talk about you know your experiences with Sangre Grande. I mean, I'm covering this for you, but I'm not a historian, so I don't pretend to know everything about an area. And you'll be better able to inform me if you are local. And you know, if you have friends or family, for instance, if you are living abroad and you have friends or family that are living here in Sangre Grande, it's not likely that they would know about this video because they, you know, they wouldn't be looking for a video about somewhere they already see every day. However, you can tell them about the video and ask them to come and comment more about various things that I observe. They can fill me in or describe certain places or whatnot. I'm very open to that. Once it's done in a constructive manner. Some people come with politics and different things. You know, I don't allow that. I mean, for instance, somebody might come and start blaming a particular individual in the government or whatever. And while they may have truth to that, you know, my platform is not for political rants. So just keep it in general. Focus on the actual issue rather than who is the person to deal with it. It's kind of funny sometimes when I'm passing and you see people like staring down the camera. For those of you on my channel who love trucks, you get some good shots of trucks here. Look at this one. Again, there's all these streets that you could go down and check out, but you know, this video is already so long that if I went to do that, it would take 3 or 4 hours longer. Those places on the right is like bars and stuff. Again, coming back to derelict buildings. You can see this used to be a gas station. And it's actually an ideal place for a gas station because if I recall right, the nearest one to here is pretty far away, further north. Maybe there's another one somewhere else. As you can imagine, with these small streets, two-way traffic and people parking, there is a lot of congestion to get through to wherever you're going. So if you plan to pass through Sangre Grande, be prepared for some waiting time. I believe there are back roads. In fact, I know there are back roads that you can take, having driven around myself as well. But you know, not everybody's going to know that, so they'll end up going through the eastern main road to get to where they're going. And it can be quite a hassle. So we're coming closer to that point where I was before, where I was panning around showing you the different streets and roads that lead from Sangre Grande's center to other places. Passing the police station on the right, and you'll see in the center there those metal figures, stick fighters. That's where I was standing. And so, like I said, I'm going to try to go down each of these streets one by one. One thing too with Sangre Grande is there are a lot of one-way streets. So for instance, this is the Toko main road, but you can't access it from here. You would have to go around other streets to get it. You'll actually see some of that in the drive-through video. All those cars there, I believe, are part of the police headquarters. Just giving you a glance of the street, but I'm not going down it. I'm gonna turn around here and go back the other way. A lot of these walkthroughs is also to give you a gist of what an area is like. I'm not trying to give you a tourist video. I'm trying to show you it as real as possible, so you get a feel for what it would be like if you were here. Showing you a bit of the pavement sidewalk, you'll notice that the road is actually higher than the pavement sidewalk, which is not a good thing. And it means probably that they raised the road but neglected to raise the pavement. So essentially, this is one of the roads you would have to take in order to get to that Toko main road. You would have to go down here and then make a right. That will take you to a street where the road becomes two-way traffic. See, look at that manhole down below. That's a hazard. Everybody parking on the street also makes getting around very difficult. And in fact, funny enough, I do not recall seeing any parking areas, off-street parking areas, or paid parking. Maybe there's one and I missed it, you can let me know, but it wasn't apparent that there was a place for parking. You could pay, you know, your $5, your $10, whatever it have you, to park there off the road. See a lot of empty lots again, and they tend to not be maintained, so they get trash and stuff all over it. The general feel of Sangre Grande for me is it's almost like a place frozen in time. You know, you see a little bit a highlight of something here or there, or something moving forward here or there, but not enough to make an impact. It just looks like, you know, the same place 10 years ago. Or what would happen if you built a place 10 years ago and then just left it to run itself? But that's kind of like how Sangre Grande is. You know, it's my argument for a lot of places actually in Trinidad. Look, I just passed this and I wanted to show you. That's just a little piece of plywood. Anybody could fall through that. I think one of the main things about the lack of interest in things in general is because people don't see the evidence of where their tax paying money goes. I mean, a lot of things should be spruced up. You know, any town center, city center should be the example for everybody else. Now, if you're going on a side street or off road and it doesn't look too well, you'll say, okay, that's a side street or off road. But the main town center, city center, whatever have you, that should look the best ever because it's representative of the whole community, the whole town, the whole city or whatever. It's also like a example of how you should keep your own place. But if it's left to be whatever, then you know people don't feel the incentive to do anything better with their own area. That's just a given. How do you feel? Tell me in the comments area again about what am I seeing. Is it true or not? Look at these troughs, these places for growing things. I should have some lovely plants or flowers or something growing out of it. Some have, some don't, you know. For sure, some are being used for garbage, and that's such a pity. Here's somebody selling vegetables, and he's yelling out the best prices that he has, and some ladies are checking him out, checking out the things that he has. I believe that's dashi now.
This is not cassava, right?
No,
Yam. You have cassava?
That's huge. I was interested in getting cassava though. Right now cassava is very expensive. People selling it all $12 a pound. That's like $2 US a pound. It should be less than $1 US normally. Like 60 to 75 cents US a pound. So a lot of things fluctuate in the country with regards to food prices. For instance, tomatoes are very cheap right now, but another time they may be very expensive. And not because there's a season, because you know we have the same weather throughout the year, just dry or wet. And maybe there might be this exceptionally dry weather that makes growing hard, but that hasn't happened for a while, and so really there's no reason to not keep prices stable. So we're gonna cross here to the market area, and this is where I was approached by this exuberant young man who wanted to tell me about the produce that he was selling. Can you hear what he has to say? Listen to him.
A video where you're doing a walk to Sangre Grande.
Yeah.
Give us a
Sangre Grande.
give us a highlight on me market now. Oh?
You're part of the market. You look like
Yeah,
you're
we
outside
is part.
the market.
No, well, we inside the market, but we take a little cruise today. Come on, put us on the video. Let me show you people on how we just do it. Listen, we have 40 pimento for $10 only. We have 2 pounds of tomatoes for $10. Everything is $10 today. Everything is $10 today. It's I alone. Come in the market now. Come on,
How about the cassava?
Huh?
No cassava?
Come down, man. Benata. We have cassava. Milame.
How much for the cassava?
Cassava is $10 a pound. Sweet pepper is 15 a pound. Cassava and sweet pepper, sweet potato very expensive right now. Sweet potato very
Do you
expensive.
find like people buying or they're not buying?
Yeah, people buy it, man. People buying this Monte. They have to buy. They must top up on their things. And we come out to treat people. Give the boss out here right now. We come out to treat people now.
Nah, you holding a knife. I don't want to get too close.
Wait on here. This is the man they call Sado here. Sado in charge of things for poor people. What's your Sado doing? $10 and $5. We in charge of poor people in Sangre Grande. When all they want market, all they come Sangre Grande. But we in charge of
So
that.
you all always here?
Every day.
24.
Every day. Not 24, but.
I will check JB Man Cave on YouTube. And you will see me
JB Man Cave.
on YouTube.
Okay, no problem. But you don't come to the market and you don't come and take
Nah,
nothing.
when I passing through Sangre Grande, it's just to pass through.
Really?
only
But you
today
never
I
really
decided
come and
not to
interact with us? You never come and interact with us
I
and
have
make
a few
a
people here, no, but
and make a proper video, but you have to come and interact with the youths and them, make a
Right
big
now,
good
right
and
now.
interact with the
Making
old
a
heads
video
and
there
them.
right now?
Yes, we have to come and link with.
he asked me to come and record him.
Yeah? I tell them I will highlight on my goods. We will highlight on Sangre Grande and let the people and them see how
Well-
deplorable Sangre Grande is compared to other cities. If you understand.
Well, yeah,
Certain
I'm
places
recording
walk
some
and
of the
shoot.
sidewalks and stuff.
Certain places walk and shoot.
Alright, man. Take it easy.
I want to, excuse me, you know I want to highlight when I'm walking down the road there, highlight all them old big pothole in the road. All them old thing, all the dirty drain, them the thing, kind of thing you have to highlight, let them fix Sangre Grande for we boy. Go in the back there.
Well, what did you think about my friend that I found there? Quite interesting, his thoughts. He expressed some of the same feelings I had about things and how they were kept and whatnot. You can catch some of the prices there. Not too far away from just before the pandemic, around 2018, 2017. You still used to see $1 for this, $2 for that as far as vegetables go. And now it's just everything is like $5 to $15 or $20 for the same thing, and that's really ridiculous. The same guys that were selling, they were trying to do it like $10 bags, so people who couldn't afford these prices, you know, could focus on that. This in some of the drainage, things look like they could be clean, maintained. Some of these bridges itself, I'm not sure how structurally sound they are, but they could be painted. You know, those things are roadworks and just have to do with maintenance. Streets are fair, but definitely the pavement sidewalks are one thing. The road should not be higher than where pedestrians walk. That in itself is a hazard. As I've mentioned in some of my videos, you know, some people will get the idea that the Caribbean is all about beaches and coconut trees. Well, this is actually how the Caribbean also looks. The kind of houses, the non-existent coconut trees, especially here in Trinidad, and how the buildings, the roads and things are kept. It probably doesn't look as inviting as those brochures that you see, but this is actually typical life in the Caribbean, especially for people who are local. It's a mosque on the left. That red band maxi, that's like a private bus. You pay a fee to go on. Now, up ahead seems to be like some development is going on, but I don't know about it. Feel free to let me know if you know more about it. I thought I would just take a quick look, just for the sake of showing you all. So a lot of these areas, you know, they are once full of trees and grass and whatnot, but as they are built up, they are cleared. And I don't know if in clearing it, there's a better purpose in mind. There's a few coconut trees there, which is good. Some palms. But I'm not sure what they're doing up ahead. So we're gonna turn back. You know what that is there? That is a termite's nest. They build that and eat away all the wood. So as we turn here, we go into the surrounding parts of Sangre Grande Proper. These streets run parallel to the Eastern Main Road. But there's some things you could see, I guess. I didn't want to keep walking down the Eastern Main Road because we already went there. So I wanted to see what some of the back streets were like. And then I will go back to the Eastern Main Road as I continue. It also gives you a feel for what some of the surroundings like. If you lived on the street, I'm sure you'd want to know how it's developed, how it's progressed. See the amount of open lots here with just things going on, not going on, trash and whatnot. There's a lot of that here in Sangre Grande. It should be taken care of. Whomever owns the property, or if it's the government themselves, they need to, you know, take care of it. In this particular street there wasn't even a pavement. If you notice, the drains are uncovered. I did see a presence of the police. All through my walk I saw a lot of squad cars driving around, which is a good thing. I didn't see any foot patrols, but a lot of squad cars driving around. I'm too sure what the crime rate is here. I know crime happens in Sangre Grande for sure, because I do hear some crime or murder or something and Sangre Grande comes up. But as far as petty crimes, you know, really, and no crime is petty, but If it's not murder or kidnapping, some people refer to it as petty crime. Things like, you know, pickpocketing, larceny and whatnot, you know, somebody stealing something. I don't know if those things are common in Sangre Grande, but you can tell me if you're from the area or know more about it. Let me know in the comments area. You can see that tall cellular tower in the background. That's a good guide as to know where I am. Earlier in the video you would have seen me approaching that from the north. In relation to where that tower is now, we are facing east, more or less. All those people lined up there waiting to go into that ATM. And I noticed that some of the banks around here had long lines too, and not really much accommodation for people waiting outside. Now this is a public park, at least it's supposed to, but like most of the conundrum that I experience when I visit places in Trinidad, it is always blocked in some way. So you have the Monte Cristo Park, but it's locked. So I can't show you Monte Cristo Park. And there was a gentleman standing there and I was asking him if he knows why it is locked, and he said that I really can't tell you. So it's a mystery, and there's no sign to say, well, you know, this park is open on certain hours or whatever. I mean, there could be good reasons to keep it closed. You don't want vagrants there, you don't want loitering, you don't want mess. But I mean, it's daylight. People are out with their kids and stuff, so this seems like more than the appropriate time to have it open. Because, you know, if for instance you're just trying to stop vagrants, that little wall there is not going to stop a vagrant from jumping over. So I'm not sure what else is very elaborate gate and wall work here. Look at this bougainvillea. I captured this. You would have seen this in the Cascade video a lot. It's nice to see one here. You see how brilliant it is? Almost fluorescent. That's just how they are. It's very, very beautiful. For sure, if I ever have my own home in the Caribbean, I would plant a lot of that. Looking up here at the cellular tower, I was looking at the cloud formations. Do you ever look at the clouds and find or try to look for similarities of things, you know, like a face, an object or whatever? Some people like to do that. Check that truck up ahead, those of you who like truck watching, truck spotting. It's an interesting water truck. Now you see where those cars are turning. If you're coming on the Eastern Main Road, you can't go straight in, so you have to turn here. So that particular turn off there would have been almost like a landmark for people when they're coming in Sangre Grande. And some of these buildings and stuff would also be the same way. Now back when buses was a big thing, this used to be a big bus area, but it's reduced in size. This looked like if it used to be a post office or something. I don't know, I'm just guessing. Tell me if you know what it used to be. What all these buildings that are abandoned used to be. Probably part of a railway station at one time. The trains used to pass here. Up ahead to the left would be where the buses are now. I hit those areas in the drive-through, so don't worry. For now, I want to go back down the Eastern Main Road to cover more of Sangre Grande Proper. From observation too, you can see where because there isn't a standard for the way people keep their shops and stuff. Parking is anyhow, and some of it is good, some of it's not enough. And buildings tend to be built very close to the main road, so it's hard to decisively find a way to standardize the way shops appear and the signage and stuff. A lot of that is more apparent abroad, but it has to do with a lot of foresight and planning. Huh? That's the bus. Going into Sangre Grande Proper. There's a big upgrade with the bus system here, and a lot of them now are air conditioned, and the ride is not too bad as well. So that's one good thing. I'm panning on a truck for those of you who are truck lovers. Again, more abandoned looking properties. As we walk on this road, you'll see quite a few of them. One of these streets have a college. Look at the comparison of the green on the right and on the left nothing that's green. It's always a big difference, right? Green really enhances things, and I wish there was a bigger concentration of doing that to the areas. If just imagine how much better here would be with some trees, with some shrubs, whatever. This is the house I saw earlier in the video that I really liked. It's conferring with a guy there about a school. Sometimes I look at Google Maps, but I notice it's not all. The more I go on these road trips, the more I notice it's not 100% accurate. It's fairly accurate, but some streets are not named or misnamed, and certain things that it labels that there is not there, and so forth. Sometimes I like to ask people where something is. So this is the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation headquarters, as represented by their flag and the national flag. So we're gonna go down here a bit, check what's around. Looks like a TN Tech place on the right there. Interesting design on this home. On the left, even though not complete. This is TN Tech station, I guess. Oh, it's a substation. So that goes down. Sangre Grande goes down too, with the lights. So across there, that's the school I was telling you about. That maybe if you went there, or you're Catholic, right next to it is the Catholic Church. Maybe those things are sentimental for you. Normally I would try to get a closer look at the church and stuff, but it seems like they were having a camp there. And when I say a camp, now is the Easter vacation, so a lot of the churches tend to have these, meetups for kids and stuff to keep them occupied. And it looks like one was going on there, so I didn't want to go closer to that. I like giving people their space, privacy, and so forth. Instead, we're gonna go back to the Eastern Main Road. A lot of these roads, don't worry, I will come back to in a drive-through. So again, look out for that. Somebody recently came to my channel and was saying how they found that the vehicles look old, and I really can't, when you're around something a lot, you don't notice things as much as if you're not familiar with it. And while there are a lot of new vehicles, there are quite a lot of old vehicles. That's true. It's like a mix of the two. But a lot of the older ones really shouldn't even be on the road. They're not roadworthy, but there isn't a lot of follow-up to things here, and so people drive whatever, some old junk vehicle. Maybe it's not even insured or inspected, but they're still driving around. See more open lots. So if you were planning to come to Sangre Grande to build up something, for sure you would have space to do it. Lots of abandoned places, open lots and whatnot, that I'm sure will be available at some point. Now, there are plans by the government to build a highway all the way to Toco and somehow connect Sangre Grande to it. And this would make Sangre Grande flourish more, but right now, because of how far it is from everything, things seem to be going at a snail's pace. And you can see all the people there, like I said, waiting outside the bank to get in. I guess that bank has a limit to how many people can enter at the same time, so they have to wait outside. And today is quite hot, huh? Should be, to me, better shelter for people. Just one little tent is not going to satisfy all those people waiting there. This is the Eastern Main Road, by the way. This is heading north, and if I was to follow this, it would take me to Valencia and back to a bypass road to head back west to places like Santa Rosa, Arima, Trin City, etc. Again, you can see empty lots on the left, and that house on the right. I mean, on the right of it is what I want to see. On the right of me right now is open lots, empty lots. You see how many of them, like I said? But look at that house across there. That's a really old house. It looks like probably it was on fire at one point. Not sure. Or maybe just dilapidated to that point. But you know, a lot of these eyesores should be taken care of. Again, an open lot. I mean, I don't know if you have an interest in what these places are. A lot of them are restaurants, places to get batteries, parts places, fix it, things like that. The one coming up on the right is a grocery supermarket. You know, insurance buildings, shipping, pet stores, mostly food. And about here I am going to get a drink because it's really hot, all this walking. So I'm gonna cut off. So now that I've had my drink, I continue. Now usually my drink of choice is water, but when I'm sweating a lot on a hot day like this and walking so much, I would usually replace lost energy with something called a malta. That's a drink made locally with hops, and it's black in color. It's hard to describe how it tastes. It's kind of a licorice kind of taste, malt. I guess if you mix licorice or coffee together. I know that sounds weird, right? My wife refers to it as the medicine drink. She doesn't like it at all. But I love Malta. Any of you are fans of Malta? Look at that wooden house. That is the kind of house you would see long time ago. Very plentiful. And as I walk past these different streets, I try to pan so you could see how they look. Another open lot. What amazed me too with Sangre Grande is the amount of shops that go far from the center of Sangre Grande that are still accessed by people. Because you see something similar in Hoover, but they don't seem to be patronized as much. Here they do. More empty lots, drains that need cleaning and clearing. Another empty lot there. It's funny when you see these signs, no dumping, and then there's a whole bunch of garbage right around the sign. I mean, I'm saying funny, but it's really not funny. Sad, really. Sangre Grande is quite big, huh? And you see that stretch? That stretch goes on and on and on. And more or less what I have covered so far continues. Probably it'll be a little more green or a little more houses, but more or less the same. And again, because I'm walking, I can't walk the whole stretch of this. It will take forever. So I'm just going to turn around here by this big green tree, which I guess in some point will also be removed, so there's less green to talk of. See a lot of open properties here. That could be used for business or homes or whatever if there was more going on in Sangre Grande. I believe there's a flooding problem here too. You all could tell me more about it, but from the couple of people I know that live in Sangre Grande, they have told me that they have had real problems with water, especially near the center of Sangre Grande. I don't know if you can tell how far that tower is in the distance. That can give you an idea of how far I've walked. It may not seem that far, but now if you see the tower, and you can see the police station all the way in the distance, you can see I've covered a lot of ground. I'm not gonna go all the way straight back. I'm gonna kind of turn right at some point on one of these streets, so you could see some of the parallel streets. There's so many nice flooring plants that people can buy to spruce up their house. I wish more people would do that. That would be good sales for the person selling the plants too. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but there are lots of fishes in there. And they're moving as I pass by in that dirty water. You wouldn't think anything could live down in that water, but there are lots of fishes. This road looks like it needs help. As you can see, it's definitely not special needs friendly. I can't see anybody having a wheelchair trying to navigate these pavements or sidewalks. In some cases it's hazardous. Look at this. I mean, you could slip there. I'm not sure too sure of the arrangement here too, because you know, some of these buildings, it looks like if the sidewalk is taken up from it. I'm not sure how that works. If the building was there before, or the building encroached on the sidewalk, or what, but and then whatever left of the sidewalk or pavement is not proper. In some cases it's lower than the street, or missing manhole coverings and stuff. So I turned down the street to give you a picture of what some of the area off of the main road would look like, and this is it. It's more residential. There are commercial places. But it gives you also a bit of a glance of how we build houses and places in the Caribbean. Most of it is steel and concrete. The wooden houses that you would have seen, that seriously is phasing out. You hardly see that anymore, unless the person is really badly off or simply of the very old generation that likes the wooden house. But other than that, most people build with concrete blocks and clay blocks, cement blocks, and so forth. For instance, look at this residence on the right. Looks really nice, well kept, tidy, nice gate, nice front. That's how it's supposed to be for everybody. I know some people will argue that, oh, you need money or whatever, or you might have to be wealthy or whatnot, but you know, being tidy and clean have nothing to do with your wealth. You can be poor and still keep your surroundings well. Take up the trash, cut the grass. That has nothing to do with being wealthy. And you'll notice, like, sitting areas like this, there is not a pavement or a sidewalk. Nothing is covering the drain. Luckily, the street is fairly big. It's funny enough to say that the street is bigger than the main road. These are some of the back streets I was saying that you can actually use to get or bypass the Sangre Grande center. So if you're ever thinking, you know, how can I get past all of this traffic? Well, you could use some of these roads if you know where you're going. So what did you think of this walk through Sangre Grande? Have you ever seen Sangre Grande before? Have you seen it like this? Did you used to live here and went abroad and find everything's new and whatnot? I know some of you will just give a couple words to say thanks for the video, and I appreciate that, but you know, feel free to also elaborate. You know, instead of just saying you really liked the video, tell me what you really liked about it. Is it the way that I recorded it? Is it because you saw something that you liked? Is it my boring commentary? You tell me. Also feel free to talk about your own interest in Sangre Grande, if you grew up here or if you have family here or this is where you stay when you come to Trinidad. You know, share all those things, because it's not just about interacting with me, JB, but you can also interact with others in the community here on JB's Man Cave. You may, who knows, you may find close connections. And if you haven't done it, make sure to subscribe, like, press the notification bell. That way you would always get notification when I have new videos. And I have new videos out every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So you're never gonna miss out. Either it's a long video or a short video, and these videos cover everything that are associated with a man cave, whether it be places, sports, issues, crime, even Ukraine. Sometimes I'll cover that. So don't be afraid to give your comments on those other videos, especially if you like JB's Man Cave, you like what I do. Don't limit yourself to just one or two things, because I like to surprise people and drop videos of various things. Keep it lively, keep it energetic. You don't see many people with bicycle anymore, but there are a few of them. Used to be more common when I was young. Not so common anymore. Everybody wants a vehicle. And there's just too many vehicles here in Trinidad. And that's why the roads are so congested. Apart from having little to no infrastructure or the roads being bad, the number of vehicles on the road just makes things worse, because typical household might have 2-3 cars. You know, not just one car for everybody, no, they have multiple cars. So I hope you enjoyed this trip, and if you did, you can always support me monetarily if you can. If you can't, no problem, but if you can, go to jbmancave.com. there's a donation link there. You can donate and show your support. I'll leave you here with some trucks from a lot of my fans who like trucks. Look how long this one is. with this long trailer at the end of it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here on JB's Man Cave.